Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for today's project and to show you the thrifted materials I got for it. So first is the pattern. So patterns are so expensive, but I found this at an antique store for $2.50. It is literally from 1991 and I am obsessed with all things 90s. And I knew if nothing else, I could use this to make pajamas. So that is what we're doing today. And so yesterday I went to Goodwill. I found this sheet, obviously from the 80s or 90s, for $2. $2! It's so cool. I'm so excited. And then the other one, also $2. It's so pretty and soft. That was also something else I was paying attention to. This is for pajamas, so it needed to be, you know, something that would actually be comfortable to sleep in. So we're gonna make pajamas with my $4 worth of awesome fabric. Let's get started. Okay, so I washed the fabric when I got home last night from the thrift store, and then I just ironed the first one that I'm gonna start with. I have never opened this to check and make sure that all the pieces are still in there. And I mean, it's used, so let's hope for the best here. Oh, there's pockets. Why did I not realize this? Yes. So I'm gonna try to explain how I'm doing this. I don't have tracing paper, which would be a really easy way of keeping all the pattern sizes that are available and also tracing the pattern onto the fabric. I don't want to cut this and get rid of all the other pattern sizes. I want to be able to have all the pattern sizes in case I want to use this again and need a different size. So what I've been doing, like here's the real size, I'm folding it to my size, which is like kind of okay in theory. This isn't necessarily a straight edge, it's like kind of curved. And then sometimes you have stuff like this, which is really difficult. So then I'm using my chalk, like just kind of peeling this back and trying to draw the lines so I know where to cut underneath. Is it the correct way of doing this? No. Is it perfect? No. Am I faking my way through it? Yes. Okay, so it has been hours since I started this process. When I decided to do this project, the thing I forgot was that I don't know how to use a pattern. I've used them before, but I'm realizing that the last time I did that was like probably 12 years ago. It's taken me some time to like read through the instructions, Google some words that I didn't remember, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's been a whole thing. Okay, it's the next day. I had to pick up some stuff at Joann's before I could continue. So I needed interfacing, I needed elastic for the pants / shorts, and then both versions will need buttons, 3/4 inch. So I got clear ones for the 80s, 90s sheet, and then just black ones for the flower one. Also, I didn't get to mention this before, but for those of you who have seen my how to crop and knit sweater video, I mentioned how I don't have a rolly cutter, AKA rotary cutter. And now I do. My mom got me one for Christmas. So now I'm like super professional. And a little board, a pink one. Thanks, Mom. Okay. Got my pieces. Oh, I gotta apply the interfacing. Another thing that I haven't done in 12 years is deal with interfacing. Interfacing helps add firmness and structure to a garment. There are a couple different kinds, but I bought the fusible kind, which is basically iron-on. There's also different thicknesses, but this project required a very light interface. I had to use interface for the front and back V-neck and also the upper back of the shirt, which you'll see a little bit later. The interface helped these sections have a more crisp look instead of a limp and loose look. You can see here that I'm cutting the interfacing the exact size as the pattern piece. Once I started, I remembered the interface should actually be smaller, being about a 1/4 inch away from the edges. I ended up cutting it out like this first and then just trimming it down after. I found a better way to do this the next time, so stay tuned. Okay, I think I finally got that. Close enough. Might be still a little close to the edges on some pieces, but whatever. Whatever. Interface is in, press the outer edges a 1/4 inch as instructed, pin this to the garment, and now I will sew on the seam line marked in blue chalk. I did. So, before I continue, I mean, like, what's going on here, you know? It's like pleating. I don't like it. Okay, the good news is I got that little pleaty thing to go away. The bad news is now the corner is not stitched together anymore. This is not that funny. I could see when I was trying to like flip it back over like that there was seams there. So I was like, well, let me just cut them out. And so that's great. Now when I fold it, the pleating thing is gone. I can see how the edge is supposed to look. But now I just have a bunch of broken seams from the inside. Is it great? No. Am I going to accept it and move on? Yes. You can kind of see some seams in here. Look, these are pajamas, okay? It's still crunched up a little bit at the corner, but it's not too bad. It looks pretty good. So much more to do. I really wanted to be done today. But here's why I thought I could be done within a couple days, is because I thought I knew how to use a pattern. I did not account for me having to teach myself how to use a pattern. So here we are. I was trying really hard to get this shirt done before I went to bed. I did come up with a better way to do the interfacing this time around. You can see here, since the interface is transparent, I just laid it over the piece that needed the interface and drew where I wanted to cut. Much easier and faster than what I did earlier. It's 2 in the morning and I'm stuck on this one step that I've been on forever. So I'm going to bed. Previously on me filming this video, we left off at 2 in the morning with me tired and not being able to comprehend the pattern. It's been about a day and a half. I'm refreshed, and I actually reread over the part I was confused about, and I think I know what I'm doing now. I think it was just my 2 in the morning tired brain that couldn't see what was next. So I just learned something. As I'm following this, I'm kind of like looking at the things I'm about to do, and I was like, when do I finish the edges? Like on the inside. So like, for example, you know, like this, because this is just like the raw edge, and my instructions are just talking about, yeah, now you're gonna fold this over, press your edges. It's like skipping that. I'm like, I can't just leave this. And so I just found a video of a girl. She was saying how, yeah, like your pattern doesn't always tell you that, but that the rule is that you sew your seam, finish your edges, and then press. So before I continue with what it's telling me, I need to finish my edges. These little flaps with the buttons is the other section that had interfacing. I was a little confused when I got to the instructions on the buttons because I assumed they were real buttons with buttonholes, but it actually just had you sew the buttons through all the layers, so it's just for decoration. I didn't really think that was going to work well because basically the 2 dots where I sewed the buttons is how these 2 pieces are sewn together, but because that interfacing is in there, it worked perfectly. Hi everyone, and welcome back to day 74 of working on this project. I'm just kidding, I'm being dramatic. It's like day 4. Which is fine. It's basically my first time doing this. So if it's taking you a long time to work on a pattern, there's no rush. All I have left to do on the top is to sew the side seam, hem the bottom, hem the sleeves. Every time I think, oh, I'm almost done, I only have to do, you know, this one thing. Then something has to go wrong. I had my sleeves pressed and pinned. All I had to do was sew them. I do the first one, somehow it's all jacked up. I don't know why. So I pinned it again and I'm taking it out. The shirt is done, but you can't see it yet. Gotta wait to the end. And now to do the shorts. Okay, the first thing I have to do is sew the inner leg seams. Don't be like me and forget to cut the notches. I remembered in everywhere else on the shorts, except for down here. So I had to make little marks with chalk. So don't forget that, it's very important. My least favorite part of this whole process is finishing the edges, because right when you think you're on a roll, oh, that was so quick, I'm gonna go to the next thing, and then you go to do it and you're like, oh, but you need to finish your edges first if you want this to look nice and not fall apart, but it just takes so much more time. I tried one other way to finish my inside seams, what I keep referring to as finishing my edges, but the way shown here ended up being my preferred way. I pressed the edges under and then did this overcast stitch along it. So after I had the pockets sewn on, I needed to sew the front of the shorts and front pockets to the back of the shorts and back pockets. And what do you know? I originally did it wrong and had to seam rip and start over. So what you see here is how I originally started sewing, which was basically sewing the front to the front and the back to the back. Luckily, I only did one side before I realized this was wrong. After seam ripping, then I got the correct sides together and hey, look at that. It actually looks like shorts now. For the elastic waist, I spent who knows how long trying to read the instructions, and I was just so confused. The waist is a double elastic waist, so you basically sew a line so there were 2 separate casings, 2 separate places to slide 2 separate pieces of elastic through. Okay, cool, that makes sense. The part that didn't make sense was that they told you to buy 3/4 inch elastic, but then the instructions guided you to making a 5/8 inch top casing. If you're bad at math, just know they were instructing me to make a casing smaller than the elastic. 5/8 is smaller than 3/4. So if I did it that way, I don't think the elastic would have fit. I was nervous to do this, but I went rogue and made the casing the sizing I thought it should be, which was just slightly larger than the elastic, so the elastic could actually fit. I was afraid I was going to get to a step later and realize why the instructions said that, but I'm pleased to announce it all worked out, and even though I still do not understand why the instructions said that, I'm glad I followed my instincts on this one. Okay, day 3 of working on the shorts. I really could have done this yesterday, but I added too many other things in my day. But the last thing I need to do is just hem the bottom. Okay, I'm all done. Let's go try it on and see the final pajama set. A reminder of the before, my $2 80 sheet, and the grand reveal. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I will say when I first put it on, it did kind of give me like scrub vibes.
Where are the rest of your scrubs?
Oh, I thought this was kind of an either-or thing.
But I'm still happy with it. Between the style of the 90s shorts and then maybe the size of the pattern I used, the shorts are a little big, so I did roll them over one time. So I might size down when I make these with the floral fabric. Yes, that did not make this video, but I do still plan on making a pants version with my floral fabric, so stay tuned for a future update on that. Well, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it or something. At this point, I don't even know what this video is gonna be about because it was just a bunch of me not knowing what I'm doing and making mistakes. Will you learn something? Maybe. Or maybe more than anything, it will just encourage you that if you feel like you don't know what you're doing, so do I. If you want to learn something new, that's the thing. If we want to learn new things out here, we just have to do it and try it. And we learn from our mistakes. So maybe you'll learn from my mistakes. And if not, maybe this will just encourage you to just get started. Try a new project. Even if it takes you a long time, we'll get better eventually if we keep doing it. So moral of today's video, try something new. Even if you suck at it, you'll learn more eventually. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time where I'm either making something, baking something, or traveling somewhere. Okay, bye. These cute little shorts and TikToks make it seem like sewed a couple things and now it's done. Look at this cute thing I did, which I will probably have a short and it might look that way. But then if you watch my full YouTube videos, you see the truth.